So something's rising and it's not just our pants. Solo Leveling wraps up Core 1, Core 2 confirmed. I knew nothing about what a rise was. All I knew about Solo Leveling before the show even started off was that a rise was like the mantra of this show. You know, people can be like, don't look at the title of next week's episode, it spoils, and it's like, dude, it's just called a rise. An anime only ain't gonna know what that means. And honestly, as soon as it was revealed, I was like, oh, that makes sense. But who the hell's gonna think of necromancy? Like, no one who has no experience with already the source material is ready for what this episode delivers. Hell, even if you know the source material, you're probably not ready because of the quality that they delivered. It, without a doubt, exceeded expectations. Anyone who was following this show's announcements when it first was, like, getting revealed to be an anime, the amount of bitching and moaning that A1 Pictures was going to ruin Solo Leveling. Guys, it's gonna be horrible. Look at the teaser. Like, the amount of crybabies out there who acted like this was gonna be a butchered adaptation are in shambles. Haters are literally seething because their mantra of ignorance about the quality that is this Soul Leveling anime can no longer be justified because holy hell, man, these 12 episodes cooked. Gordon Ramsay would eat this dish and say, fucking delicious. I have a full live reaction to all these wonderful episodes of Soul Leveling over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thoughts to this latest episode or any of these episodes, it's over there if you're interested. So Core 2 officially confirmed. Rumor has it we're going for a full adaptation, potentially 6 cores total, which, you know, would bring it up to like, 75 episodes-ish if we're going for, or maybe if you break it down into seasons, season 1 being a split core, so 25 episodes each, would make sense. Either way, we're getting more, and with the popularity of this series, a full adaptation is all but a given. It's just a matter of time. The best part of this episode was that entire way he cheated the system. So I said last week, the system, if it's actually something that's monitoring him and like has a active look of things, is a troll because it literally popped up good luck when it said survive the nights. So a lot of people were bitching and moaning that he didn't do his daily quests, which had this not happened the way it is, he probably would have been screwed. But the thing about the daily quest is like he said when he started off, he didn't really know what he was jumping into with this whole job change ship. So he's like, I'll do the daily quest when I get back. Obviously that never happened. But I can't tell if he's the luckiest son of a bitch or the unluckiest, because he drops teleport crystals every single time. But then again, dropping them not only did him a good thing, he also got extra bonus points because he didn't use it. So like, he might be unlucky when it comes to teleport stones, but in general, life is actually turning up Jin-Woo's way. So he can't use like healing potions, recovery, like he's in this and he can't do shit when he's fighting these knights. But the penalty zone is a different story. He cuts apart all those centipedes, kicks back, heals his exhaustion, buys a damn near $3 million blade that's 25% more effective against armor, and says, okay, I'm good. This was the best curveball he could have possibly done. The whole situation felt so unfair. Even if that Igris Knight was using 10% of his skill set, as people are telling me last week, the entirety of this system is just BS half the time. Maybe even most of the time if we're being honest. But coming back and slicing apart, taking care of those 6 necromancers, and coming out being not only bonus for the, oh, you had more than 50% health, because consider this. You fight the main boss and then have to do this extra boss. How many people are realistically going to have more than 50% health when this is all done when you can't use healing potions? Probably no one, unless you're this boy who forgets to do his daily quest or pushes it off thinking he can do it later and gets to do the loop-de-loop of logic, and it's fantastic. I cannot respect this man more. But the idea of necromancy is so cool because people kept asking me, and I had a few people get annoyed because I wouldn't give them my theories of what the job change was. What the hell am I supposed to assume the job changes? There's no hints about it, right? Like, I'm just like, whatever the Duke could goddamn be a sexy nurse healer for all I know. I don't know what Soul Leveling's gonna do. I'm just here for the ride right now. But the idea of necromancy is so cool because not only does he have the ability to have, if we're looking at the menus as it stands, it might be different because he did get quite the level up. He could have like 30 active and like 20 in storage. But the idea that it's not just simply like catching a bunch of Pidgeys and throwing them in your Pokebox, you can also get a goddamn Gyarados if you want to, which is what he did with Igris. So the idea that he had like 3 attempts to get this big boy was awesome because the first 2 failed miserably. The third is when he actually connected on a personal level. And it makes a lot of sense because if you go back to the actual fight, so at one point he lost his blade and Icarus threw down his sword and fought him barehanded because, you know, just certain types of knights you would expect probably had that kind of level of chivalry. And the idea that he connected being like, do you want to waste your time rusting away this, that, and the third? Join me, someone who can put you to use, respect you. And honestly, man, I don't know if this knight will last the entirety of the soul leveling story, but if he does, that's his right-hand man, his top general, 100%. Like, that is a level of respect that I love to see, and honestly, I don't even know what's going to happen to our boy next. Like, this is such a cool moment for a story that was already really cool with a kind of idea of a solo leveler. I mean, we got the name drop in the episode, we got the animation, I mean, just this man be cooking, and at one point, I swear to God, he was one layer of skin away from seeing bone with how messed up his hands were, and just, that was metal. That was incredible. Like, this was such a cooked production, and I can only begin to imagine what Korra 2 is going to look like when we get it, most likely in the fall, maybe even winter next year, whatever they do. I think the delay is the entire reason that Soul Leveling didn't crash and burn, because they originally wanted 2 cores of this back-to-back out like 2 seasons ago or something. The fact that we actually let the delays happen and let the production cook is why Soul Leveling is actually in a very healthy place when it comes to the production, which you can't always say for an A1 production. I literally don't think there's anything wrong with people who did enjoy Soul Leveling. Completely fine. There's a lot of popular things that I don't like. But there definitely has been some irrational hatred for a popular show like Soul Leveling. And just the fact that, for me, week after week, whether there was crazy action or we were slice of life learning about the worlds and characters, and it was always fun seeing source readers say, oh, you know, this is a story from the manhwa where if you're not focusing on our MC, the other characters don't exist. And then the anime said, hey, we're gonna make sure all the characters feel like people. That level of characterization made a power fantasy that could have just been look at big boy slashing around being monkey brain, and it's something with a great, interesting world, a solid supporting cast, really interesting mechanics, and a brilliant MC you want to see succeed. That conversation with himself, the torment that he suffered his entire life being said from him, and the idea of how he overcomes that level of depression and anxiety is really good character moments. This is a power fantasy. No one can argue that. But the same way something can be an isekai, that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. It's all about how you use those elements. And this is a show that is like a gold standard of what a power fantasy should be. There are people who got bored with this show when there was an action. I'm not even going to acknowledge that, because this is a show with a good supporting cast, a great world, fantastic mechanics, and a bitchin' MC. Give me the next season. Let me know what you thought of whether this last episode or any of these episodes down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more. And like I mentioned, we got full live reactions to all these wonderful episodes over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Darian Smith, Blue Summer, and Rajver Mullins. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, arise, and have a good one.